resume is like an advertisement for your services. You want to use a resume format that best highlights your job skills and accomplishments. That's the reason there are 3 different types of resumes used today. Each resume format has a distinct set of advantages and disadvantages, including chronological resumes. The good news is writing a good resume is not hard. It's just time-consuming and requires attention to detail. You already have all the information you need. Choosing the right resume or picking the right resume comes down to 2 factors. First, the amount, consistency, and depth of work experience you have accumulated so far in your career. And secondly, how well the job you are seeking is aligned with your past work experience. As you'll see later on as we look at the advantages and disadvantages of the chronological resume that we've outlined below, they're all related to the 2 factors mentioned above. The chronological resume is one of the 3 main types of resumes used today. The other resumes include the functional and combination styles. It's common for individuals to be uncertain about the type of resume they should use when looking for a new job. Fortunately, there's information that can help with that decision. A chronological resume highlights an applicant's work history starting from the most recent work experience listed in reversed chronological order. Like most resumes, the chronological resume starts off with a banner that includes your name and contact information. This includes street address, telephone number, and email address. The next section you'll find in the chronological resume is a table of your educational background. Many jobs today list a required or desired educational background. If it's that important to someone screening a resume, it might as well be right up front in the resume. You're either qualified or you're not qualified for a job. The next areas would be honors, certifications, and licenses held. Next, the work experience. And finally, the words references available upon request. The advantages of the chronological resume include the fact that if your recent work experiences are aligned with this job that you are seeking, then one of the advantages is that these job descriptions and job titles are highlighted in the chronological format. The progression of your career is easy to follow since the chronological resume lists jobs in a timeline sequence. The sequence of jobs listed in this resume format is a reverse chronological order. A chronological resume highlights not only your job position or job titles, but also the organizations you've worked for in the past. Since the chronological resume has a built-in timeline, it is believed to be more fact-based. The advantage here is that the chronological resume carries with it additional credibility in the eyes of the hiring manager or recruiter. Some of the weaknesses of the chronological resume is that your work experiences is listed in reverse chronological order if you use this resume format. And therefore, if there's a gap or break in your work experience timeline, then the chronological resume makes that gap stand out. The chronological resume allows potential employers to figure out if you've been switching jobs every couple of years. This is something that they might not like in a job candidate. A chronological resume makes it nearly impossible to hide your age from potential employers. This can be a big disadvantage for both younger and older job seekers. If your career path might seem illogical to the reader, then a chronological resume would highlight that fact. Career changers and those job seekers with varied work experiences and accomplishments may want to utilize a functional resume style. The functional resume places a great deal of emphasis on what you know and what you have accomplished rather than where you've worked. This allows the reader to see all of the skills, accomplishments, and qualifications of the job applicant presented in a logical fashion. If your career path is not immediately apparent, then a functional resume can help conceal that perceived problem. You don't want the recruiter to get the impression that you don't really know what you want to do, because you probably do. You avoid this problem with the functional format. If you are new to the workplace, such as a graduating college student, then a functional resume helps you to highlight what you know, not where you've worked. When you have employment gaps in your career, a functional resume can help to cover up those gaps. Unlike a chronological resume, you don't need to show where you've worked in the past. If you have changed jobs every 2 years, then you might not want your next employer to pick up on that habit. You may have been rewarded with higher compensation, but no one wants to invest money getting you up to speed only to have you leave their company. A functional resume can help you hide what might look like job hopping. Finally, if you are overqualified or looking upwards from your past jobs, then a functional resume can help to emphasize your skills and avoid bringing attention to job titles. The major weakness of a functional resume is that the hiring manager might be looking for the very information that the functional resume allows you to avoid putting on your resume. Unfortunately, this can make the hiring manager suspicious or nervous when the job seeker uses this format. You need to make sure the advantages outweigh the disadvantages before using a functional resume. The combination resume or blended resume generally starts with a functional resume format that allows the reader to see the skills, accomplishments, and qualifications of the job applicant. This is sometimes referred to as the page 1 format. The second page of the combination resume is reverse chronological ordering of your career work experiences. The combination resume first lets the reader see the experience you have that is related to the job opening, while the second page or part of the resume lets the potential employer look at your work history. If you are a student with little work history, then the combination resume format allows you to showcase your skills first before revealing your short work history. If you have worked for the same company for a long time or held the same type of position for a while, a combination resume allows the reader to see the skills that you've accumulated while at work. If you are making a radical career change, once again, this format places emphasis on achievements and skills first, rather than pointing out that this is a big change in your career path. Some of the major weaknesses of a functional resume include the idea that if you switch jobs frequently, then the chronological portion of this format still highlights the frequent switching as well as the timeline gaps in employment history. If you have unrelated experience or followed a career path that might seem illogical on the surface, then the chronological portion of this resume would highlight that path. And finally, if you're trying to conceal your age, the combination resume format would give a potential employer enough information to get a rough idea of when you were born.